Hey, it's Janelle Waz, and welcome back to another episode of Waz Reviews. Growing up, I loved the Sega Genesis, and as an adult, I still love the Sega Genesis. So when I started doing video game reviews in video form, it was only natural that I would want to do Genesis reviews as well. The problem was getting a proper capture card. Until recently. For you see, I finally upgraded to a better capture card, and now I can make Genesis reviews to my heart's content. While I'm aching to do Echo the Dolphin reviews and Star Trek Genesis game reviews, I want to start with something small. Something easy to record and play. Columns, the Bejeweled puzzle game before Bejeweled was even a thing, was an arcade game released by Sega before being ported to the Sega Genesis in 1990. It was a puzzle game, in some ways feeling similar to the original puzzle game Tetris. It was an easy game to learn, with little Waz understanding the rules even at a young age for hours and hours of fun. Of course, I was a kid back in the 90s. The question is, does this game hold up to adult Waz, who has seen game consoles rise and fall? Let's find out. The game opens on a mural that could have come straight out of ancient Greece, and I have to say, I really dig it. Where a lot of games go for the flashy, futuristic look, Columns takes a step back into the ancient world for that classical aesthetic that feels ancient and yet timeless. Am I the biggest fan of the orange hue in the first opening screen? Not really, but it feels right. It has that nice ancient Greek feeling to it. I mean, this feels like it could be found on some ancient Greek pottery. The alternate opening screen is two angels playing a Bejeweled game, which I dig a little bit more than the original screen. It too has that ancient yet timeless feel to it, and a color scheme that I much prefer. Pressing start opens up the menu, and you have a few options, one of which is options. Not a whole lot going on in options, to be honest, but that's completely fine. You can change the difficulty for arcade mode, which I usually leave on normal. I figure that's the way the game was intended to be played. You can even change up some of the controls, but I usually just leave it at the defaults. There are also the classic sound and color tests that you see in older games, but that's about it. It's a pretty straightforward options menu. But enough of that, because nobody's watching this video to hear me talk about the options. Let's talk about the gameplay. There are two modes of gameplay, arcade and menu? Okay. Whichever mode you decide, the rules and basic gameplay are pretty much the same. Groups of 3 jewels descend from the top of the playing field. Your choices. Move it left, move it right, or change the order of the jewels by pressing the lettered buttons before it reaches the bottom. If you want to speed things along, press the down button and the jewels will fall faster. When you line up 3 or more jewels of the same kind, whether horizontally, vertically, or diagonally, the set will flash and disappear and you get points. As you get points, you level up and the game gets faster, and faster, and faster. The game continues in this fashion until the jewels reach the top and it's game over. And hopefully you put your initials in the high scores. And if that's too complicated to remember, the game has you covered with a nice demo of how to play if you don't press start at the beginning. But the question here is, what do you pick, arcade or menu? Well, if you just want to go straight into the game, then arcade is the way to go. Simply select easy, medium, or hard, and the game starts. Easy mode starts with hints for the first 3 levels, and then you're on your own. Medium and hard don't have hints, but you start off with some extra points, as well as a faster speed. Occasionally you'll get what the game calls magic jewels, which will eliminate whatever jewel type it falls on. I'm not entirely sure what triggers it, but if used strategically, it can help you out a lot. Which clearly didn't happen here. For whatever reason, I never seem to last long in arcade mode, so let's head over to menu. Menu allows you to customize the original game or play a flash game. Flash game starts off with a couple of rows already down for you, and you have to eliminate a specific jewel to win the game. It's quick, and I only played 1 round of it for this video. For a customized original game, you can pick the difficulty, which for some reason here is novice, amateur, and pro rather than easy, medium, and hard. Your starting level, whether or not you want it timed, and which background song you want, each named after the 3 fates in Greek mythology. I personally like to play on novice, one of the lower levels, in this case 3, not timed, and while I usually play with the song Clotho, I went with Atropos to mix it up a little bit. While the song selection is limited, the 3 songs are decent songs that have that nice classical feeling to them. I really have to hand it to this game for doing the classical atmosphere well. I seem to do better and last longer in the customized game mode, probably because I went with Novice, essentially the easy mode, while the arcade version of the game was set to normal, which I'm assuming is medium. It's rather confusing to be honest, either go with easy, medium, hard, or Novice, Amateur, Pro. Yeah, look at that. Look at all those jewels. Once you get going, it's a really fun time. I especially like when I happen upon a bunch of combos at the same time. Nothing feels quite as satisfying as hearing this. For me, part of this game is sheer dumb luck. I make a lot of mistakes during a normal game, and I tend to overshoot where I want the jewels to fall. Nevertheless, when I'm playing a menu, I can go for a long time. And that's pretty much all there is to Columns. So, how does it hold up? The game's controls are pretty straightforward and easy. Left and right directional buttons to move the jewels, down to speed things along, and A, B, and C for alternating the jewels. It would have been nice if there was an insta-drop feature like pressing up, but you know what, it's fine the way it is. My only real complaint is that the Genesis controller isn't as fine-tuned as I would like, so it's easy to overshoot where I want the jewels to go. But I want the authentic experience, so I can live with it. 4 out of 5. I really love the ambiance of this game. Where a lot of similar games go for a futuristic tone, Columns takes a step back a couple thousand years, and it works so well. From the graphics right down to the ancient melodies of the song, I can really dig this ancient aesthetic. 5 out of 5. Story? There is no story. Not applicable. The learning curve is not hard to overcome at all. The demo at the beginning tells you everything you need to know, and the game is easy to learn but challenging to master. What more could you want in a puzzle game? I give it a 5 out of 5. While you may find yourself replaying this game in a single session, I can't see playing this game for hours on end. Though, maybe I did when I was younger, I don't remember. Something like Tetris I can play for a long time, maybe because the board doesn't fill up as easily as it does in Columns, but I found myself getting bored with Columns after a little while. So, 3 out of 5. So that gives Columns a 17 out of 20, or 85%. And honestly, that feels about right. It's definitely a fun game that will entertain you for a little while, but eventually you'll want to move on to something else. Nevertheless, it's a worthwhile addition to any Sega Genesis collection, and luckily, it's pretty inexpensive and easy to come by, whether in the original cartridge form or as part of a Sega Genesis collection. It may not be the best game out there, but it's definitely worth adding to your collection. So what do you think? Did you play Columns on the Sega Genesis or as part of a Genesis collection? Did it give you hours of entertainment or just a few minutes diversion in between other games? And what are some of your favorite Genesis memories? Please leave a comment below. As always, thanks for watching my video. If you like what you see, why not give me a like and subscribe to my channel? Tell your friends! Until next time...
I busted him up.